Hello everybody and welcome back to the Art of Progression. Today we're doing another speed paint, as you can see, starting out on an 8 by 11 canvas in Photoshop, portrait style, and just starting out with some preliminary sketching. The idea for this one was to have like a kind of like a floating island with a tree on it, mostly because I found a new technique for leaves that I really wanted to give a try, and also a bunch of different like effects to use that I learned in an online course on Skillshare that I'm a part of. Well, not a part of, like I'm not involved in making it, but you get the idea. But yeah, so I'm just starting out with some preliminary sketching here. Later in I'm going to block in some color, and we actually use photo textures in this piece just to add a little bit extra detail into the different segments of the piece, like the rock bit on the bottom where all like it's the spiky stalactites. I think it's stalactites. Correct me if I'm wrong. And some grass textures for that little grassy bit on top that you'll see getting painted in here in just a moment, and then a little bit of a wood texture for the tree trunk. And the leaves, I only use the technique. I don't really do anything with them just because I like the way it looks as it is. You see, I'm trying to flip the canvas a little more often, but I really need to get into a better habit with that. And so here we're doing a bit of a crossfade into my coloring segment, trying out a different kind of video format just because I was looking on YouTube and saw like a few different artists using like having like different segments of their artwork, and they just kind of like crossfade into those segments, and it's a really cool like transition. And I figured I would just like try it out and see how I do it, because normally I usually prefer like the normal kind of just start to finish speed paint sped up to like 8,000,000%. But this one, I figured I'd try something new and see how it went. So yeah, just blocking in my color here for the rock, just a nice neutral grayish brown, really dark, towards the darker end of the spectrum, and then a nice bright green for my grass. I get into the trap of using like a forest green for my grass, and I was looking like where I live and like in nature in general, and like that's not at all how it looks. It's very like lime green from what I found. And here I'm starting out my tree, just kind of like getting the rough shapes in for the branches and stuff, just blocking in some color. As you can see, I tampered with the roots there. I decided I didn't want it to be as long as I had sketched it out, which that's totally fine. Like the sketching phase is just for getting out ideas and just having a template so you can block in some ideas. It's by no means like a set rule on like, oh, my piece has to be like this. It's just to get some ideas on the board, get your creative juices flowing, and doesn't by any means have to look pretty. Just a rough template. You can save the refining for later on when you're starting to block in your color and need to get some more defined edges, some better like composition elements and stuff like that. Also trying out a bit of a different technique, because normally I just shade it like a freaking cylinder, and here I'm just I'm doing lighting based off of like the grooves inside, like, you know, the bark of the tree. And I thought that this had a really cool visual effect with how like you get like the texture of the bark with that, and you can see on the right there of that tree, I do like a little bit of backlighting in like a cool cyan color, and I thought this was really effective for getting the three-dimensional shape of the tree while also getting that texture for the bark. And now I'm just blocking in a basic sky. You see I already got my leaves up in there. I thought it looked really cool. It's a little like technique I picked up from a course on Skillshare, and I thought it just looked really nice, and I wanted to try it out and show you guys. So yeah, and just blocking in a basic sky here, nothing special, and then I crossfade into the clouds. That's already done. Basically what I do is I just take a brush, like a big brush, and get like a nice cool white color, like towards like the bluer end, and I just, you know, get some rough shapes, and then I do my shadows, and I use actually the smudge tool to kind of get some rough edges in, and then I get the color of my light to get those really bright highlights. And here is one of the effects that I start to use, and it's called it's like a atmospheric lighting, or like sun shafts. Basically what you do is you paint in on a new layer a bunch of like different lines basically, and then you do a motion blur over it, and to get the angle right for where you want your light to go, and then mask out or erase the bits that you don't want to be, like the light shafts to cross over. So like, see how it gives the effect that the light shafts are going behind those leaves there. Just a really cool effect that I picked up. And you can see I already got my photo textures in. That's a really basic thing. You just go onto Google Images, grab some stuff, some textures that you want to use, and then put them in new layers. Set them to soft light in the layer mode, and then just transform them however you need to fit, and then erase the parts that you don't want. And you can see here I'm just doing some color dodging to brighten up those leaves to really emphasize that the light is really smacking in and getting a nice bright spot in the left corner there. And then I'll end up brightening up the trunk where the light's really smacking into that trunk. And also on the rocks in that left root that's coming out of the rock there. You can't really see it on that root, but it's a really nice effect that I really like. And when you use color dodge, make sure like just make it a neutral tone, just a gray, like a dark gray. And honestly, that's enough because it just oversaturates really fast. So a nice neutral gray is usually perfect for color dodging because it automatically applies saturation and brightens the color. You can see here I'm just doing some finishing touches, finishing up the piece. Just getting some extra highlights on those stalactites, and also some extra brightening on the grass and the tree trunk where I thought some extra light should be hitting. I think I should have added a little bit more like in the middle, like because I feel like that little middle bit, it would be like popping out a little bit more, but oh well, I can touch it up later. Yeah, this is my piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be adding a signature here in just a second, and I use that leaf color because it's a color that I already used in here, and I figured, oh, well, that would work pretty well. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you on the next video.